checkers and pleasers alike. Welcome to our show, Checkpoint, the show where we discuss and discern the current events of the most recent episode of Check Please. Today we are discussing Check Please, Season 2, Episode 50.
Wait, that's why we're here?
Damn.
I'll beat
God.
the shit out of you, Xeno.
I thought we were, eating, subs.
Yeah, this is like a food eating challenge channel, right?
Yeah.
It's September. Aren't we supposed to be eating, sandwiches?
Yeah, we all got sub sandwiches. This was part of our instructions.
I'm gonna kill myself.
I mean,
I thought
I'm
I was
hungry
supposed to go
for
sub to
fleshed
every-
out answers.
But I thought we were supposed to go sub to every single Twitch thing that was on.
I'm Keni, your fortunate host. It is very nice to have you. Foaly as my co-host, hungry for our fleshed out answers.
Hello.
Xeno, our swamp witch monger.
And hungry for sandwiches.
Shut the fuck up. Beardy, our beloved daddy DM.
Hungry for apples.
Yeah, also feeling kind of hungry for sandwiches now. Thank you.
Your vegetarian pizza wasn't good enough for you. And
I
Skrewy,
mean-
our rock hard holy man.
I'm hungry for rock candy.
I have
Yeah,
rock
me
candy in the
too.
room.
I finished mine.
Not gonna lie,
Of
not
course.
big. Not big on rock candy.
Rock or bottle
I'll
caps.
deep throat
Or
that
bottle
shit.
caps. You give me a case of bottle caps, I am a happy individual.
Don't deep throat
Bottle-
rock candy.
I
It's
mean-
all
It
jaggedy.
itches my
Bottle
throat.
caps?
Oh
Bottle
my
caps. You
God.
never had bottle caps?
Bottle cap?
They're like
Yeah,
no,
bottle
candy.
they're candy.
Hey.
They're
Yeah,
candy bottle
I
caps.
don't even know this.
Hey, you open them up and then you throw them away. Because why
Wow.
would someone
No,
give
no,
you
that
a
is
candy?
circus
I
peanuts.
give
Oh, it's
everyone
not-
else the
it's
root
not
beer
good at all.
flavored ones because I don't
That's
like
the best
those.
ones.
I hate the root beer
Disgusting.
flavored one.
This
That's
one's
Those are the
plastic
best.
the
flavored
only
and
ones
it's
people
just not
give out
good.
on Halloween. Is
They're
root
the
beer.
worst. Did you know they had made a pack one year where it was just all root beer? Like,
Oh, this
all
is
root beer.
amazing.
Oh, that's the
Oh, thank
best
you.
flavored
I liked
one.
the grape ones the most.
This is the worst.
What?
What's wrong with you? Your taste buds are backwards.
You probably had grape flavored candy, like fucking medicine growing up. So you're a little baby when it comes to grape, aren't you?
I just
I
don't
love
really care
grape.
for
I
grape
no,
artificial flavoring.
I
that's all.
I had grape flavored every sort of medicine when I was young, and I will always pick grape in any candy.
I will down grape NyQuil.
I'll just do it right now. You guys dare me?
NyQuil challenge.
NyQuil challenge.
God.
Who will
This is how
stay?
we
Oh
kill
gosh.
him.
Chase it with
No,
some
that's the
Tide
thing.
Pods and you'll be good to go.
No, everybody gets a bottle of NyQuil. You down it, and the last person awake, that's the winner.
Screwy, everyone, the only person in our group who has children.
They're
fine.
Welcome
They get
to
the- they get-
Checkpoint, everybody.
Yes,
But-
welcome.
Back to the main subject of our actual talk show, talking
Yes.
about Check Please. Dear Lord.
Speaking of, hungering for things, that's a nice segue.
Yeah.
So the very beginning of the episode, it starts off where we left off in 49, where Kurla sits down in the cart and starts talking to that which hungers, which I might iterate, was not warned about.
No, it wasn't.
Not at all.
So how do you feel about that conversation, how it went?
I mean, they were really nice. I'm thinking I may have to, pledge allegiance to the spider, and for the spiders for which it
Oh, here it
Stands.
weaves. One spider under the earth. Anyway, yeah, no, I was really interested in how it went, because I didn't know how they were gonna react personality-wise to Kurla's personality, and obviously Kurla is
angry all the time.
cacking it in that conversation. Put it that way.
Because
They were scared.
Yeah,
It was
it's.
scary.
I think it went pretty well. That Witch Hungers was pretty happy to talk with you because it had been a long time where there was no real dialogue between those two characters, and that Witch Hungers just sort of had almost written you off as just being this weird mute. It's like, yeah, they're just gonna do their thing, I guess.
It's interesting whether or not Kurla whether it will occur to Kurla or not to try and use that to their advantage. The fact that Witch Hungers does appear to have a soft spot for them, to the extent that
Yeah.
it experiences that kind of emotion. That they didn't have any concept of why it would be upsetting to Kurla that they ate their sister. That was fascinating to me as well.
I mean, it offered to give it back immediately. It's like, oh, this was important to you? Here,
That's polite.
just have
Which
it. Here.
I didn't see coming. I thought there was going to be a little bit more back and forth, a little bit more negotiation. I know that, I mean, you were prepped to give that soul back with everything that went on in Dis with Levette had things gone differently there. So,
Yeah, it was a part of the Kurla story that I had intended on kind of having pretty much wrapped up by now, but it worked out that this was the time to do it.
Yeah, that was a surprise to Kurla, I think, and obviously causing them more indecisiveness and uncertainty about how best to proceed, because they obviously really don't trust this huge spider bitch thing.
So, to take like a real life standpoint on this, whenever like one of my friends who makes more money than me like offers to buy stuff, I never say no. I'm just like, yep, sure, it's your money, fuck it. So I don't know, I just take gifts. If there's a gift, I'll take it. Fuck it.
I think Kurla is seeing strings attached whether or not they're actually attached, and that's not working to their advantage. That's not helping them see the bigger picture, which is, hey, it's their sister's soul. At the end of the day, what do you care about more than that? I mean, the party and saving the world they care about as much, but they want to be able to do all three, and that's tricky. I'd say one thing kind of just as a player for that conversation. Reacting kind of directly to the camera means I can't see how anyone else is reacting in the channel. So
did
I
you
haven't
go back and watch the video at all?
I haven't yet, so I don't have a clue how any of that landed with the rest of you or with the audience. Because I'm just like in it, trying to really just emote as Kurla and staring at the camera. So I mean, I'm curious what you all made of that, whether that was compelling for you or whether you were just waiting for it to end or...
I definitely had a mic drop moment at the end. Like, I gestured a mic drop when That Which Hungers was like, here you go, I don't fucking care. I was just like, of course they would.
Yeah. Classic Beardy.
I don't
And they gave you something else besides, too.
Mm-hmm.
They did.
It wasn't just the half of your sister's soul. It was
No,
also
that's true.
another interesting boon that you have yet to embrace.
Rejected. Completely.
Well, no, and no choice was given on that, so
It's there.
So I
it's
know
there.
when it comes to that, I know Petra well, I'm gonna be poking that. Cause
You just ask Curl every morning, did you take it? Did you take it? What?
do it.
What do you mean?
Did you do it?
It's just like Vera's thing, right, Vera?
Oh my god.
Not-
yeah,
not-
just
not
lean into
smart.
it. Come on, it can't be that bad.
Can't be that bad. Okay. Player, I'm very, very curious. I mean, and that's Petra too. He's a curious individual, but Petra's far more respectful in that he's not going to be like,
Is he though?
that's right. This is not the 50th
Not the
episode,
50th
so
episode anymore.
yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, I know that I really, it's like I'm definitely going to talk with them about it and say, okay, pros and cons, kind of thing. That's all, and that's how Petra's gonna work with it.
Number one, what's the first pro?
Yeah, what's the pro?
What's the first pro?
When they haven't taken it.
Power.
When they haven't taken it.
I want to be clear on this, and maybe Beardy, you can help clarify this. The soul they weren't sure about taking, and that was kind of forced on them anyway. And the power that they were offered was also kind of forced on them. So it's not as if they've not taken stuff. They've
Oh yeah, no.
weren't given a choice in this.
No, there was no choice in this. Like, as soon as Kurla let it be known that soul was important to them, That Which Hungers is like, oh, here you go. There wasn't like a give me this, or like, can I have this, or be like, okay, I'll accept it. That wasn't part of it. It's like, as soon as it was made known that it was important to Kurla, That Which Hungers just gave them.
Like a rich person.
They're
And
just
the
like,
same
oh, here.
with the
clarify something for me. If I might have forgotten. Aside from the cult that worships them under the down in dis. Yeah, I got it.
Nuts.
Always, every time.
Aside from those people,
The Dark Elves, yeah.
the dark. Do we know anything about that particular deity per se that would absolutely suggest that they are in fact evil?
I mean,
The
Glarv.
Wiki.
I mean, if I recall what they talked about, what their kind of what their mentality was the strong usurp the weak. They are very natural in that aspect, right?
Yeah.
Where it's
they're. Yes.
which is also what Calyptra's view is like. Oh, if you do good, you get rewarded, and
Right. The way I see it is that, like, Calyptra is more like there is order to the universe because those who are strong should lead, and their responsibility is to guide the rest of society because they can protect them better because they are stronger. Blah, 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 right? So it's like, oh, there is an obvious hierarchy and order to the universe, and everybody has their place in it. And that those are typically placed in a way where you are responsible for those people beneath you in society, where it's like, oh yeah, you have an advanced position in society because of your abilities or birth or whatever, but because of that you also have to look after those beneath you. So it's a whole thing where it's like each tier in that hierarchy is responsible for everyone beneath them. That's how I kind of feel about Calyptra. That which hungers is more like you are strong, therefore you get to dictate how things should work. So it's not like you're responsible for the people beneath you. It's that you control the people beneath you.
it's your right to those people below you.
Right. It's your right to lead society because you're stronger than they are. Because you're better than they are.
Okay,
because
it's your
you have
right to
more
lead
abilities than they are.
society, but does that necessarily mean that the weak are 100% expendable, or are you there to lead them to prosperity?
I mean, I'm expected to eat the weak, so although
Yeah,
I
I
assume
mean-
I'd be more powerful if I ate the more powerful, or that would benefit that which hungers more.
Yeah, so attaining more power benefits that which hungers, but the way I look at the definition of good and evil is that it isn't so much like this primordial force that I can say, oh, this is a cup of good and that is a cup of evil. Like, it is the idea that doing something at the expense of yourself to assist others, like to not consider your own benefit, to work to help those around you, is good. That is the essence of what is good, is to be selfless, right? So that is what is good, and what is evil is the opposite, to be selfish, to not care about the needs and wants of those around you, to only try to benefit yourself to the exclusion of everyone around you. That is the definition of evil, selfishness.
That's why Moo is technically considered evil.
Yeah. So good and evil are just simply selflessness and selfishness taken to their logical extremes.
Okay.
So like a neutral good person would starve themselves to help those around them. And a neutral evil person would starve the people around them to feed themselves in a crisis situation. Say the same crisis situation. They would behave in opposite directions. So that is, good and evil as I see them in a moral sense.
Okay.
That which hungers, I think, is more along the evil bend. Like they are interested in their own power. They're interested in empowering those who serve them. So they're not trying to benefit the majority of people. They're not trying to benefit anyone aside from themselves, really, at the grand scheme of things. So, yes, that which hungers is an evil deity in that respect.
Okay.
Whereas I would think Calyptra would be more along the lines of good in the same way. They both believe in an ordered structure. They're both lawful. They both believe in a hierarchy of power and a structure to society. One of them is designed to benefit everyone, and one of them is designed to benefit themselves.
Okay.
So they would not get along.
It will be interesting in light of all that to find out, or rather for everyone else to find out, what kind of power it is that that Witch Hungers has imbued in Kurla against their will. The question of will is now whether or not they will choose to use it, and I think that it's going to spill out of them quite soon.
I hope so. That'll be fun.
But I'm curious, Xeno and Skrewy, just what you made of that conversation.
My apologies.
I mean,
Good.
like I said, I don't trust no spider. I don't know what it wants, and I guess in general, no matter what, it's expecting it's going to get a return anyways. So it's like, oh, I'll give you the soul, and you're going to continue getting more powerful, so it doesn't really matter. On the other hand, for all I know, it's going to be trying something schemy. Who knows? Never trust a spider unless it's really cute.
Yeah, the
Unless
little
it's-
hunting spiders. Like,
Yeah.
I like Lucas the spider.
If it's saving you from, being butchered as a pig, then that's sorry, wrong story. Charlotte's Web, no, okay,
I love
no, all right then.
Beardy's given the veto. I didn't even have to say anything.
No, some pig. Anyway,
Beardy, I have a question.
yeah, what's up?
How many outcomes did you consider before you landed on this one for how that conversation / results would go for the conversation with that Witch Hunters? Because you knew it was coming up based on the ending of the last episode.
Well, I mean, largely because I knew that there was no consent involved in that conversation. Pretty much just the one outcome. Like, I didn't expect in any reality for Kurla to be like, oh, okay, cool, let's work together. Like, I didn't expect that at all. So that was never something I seriously entertained in my brain. But I knew that Kurla would probably either mention or ask for Verla's soul back, and that would be enough to accomplish what I wanted to have happen in the story beat. So.
I'm curious if you were anticipating Kurla's question regarding the way that the power found them and whether that spoke to something wicked in them.
No, but I'm happy that you did, because I think it adds an extra depth to the guilt that Kurla feels about everything. And I think that's kind of fun, because now at some level they can't just blame the cosmos and random happenstance, that now they have to think that maybe there was something corrupt inside them to begin with, some personal flaw that caused this to get out of hand. And I think that's kind of beautiful.
Yeah, are the
I was
other,
In a tragic way.
are the other chosen body munchers? Don't even know. I had to find
I
some
was
more.
trying to tie it back a little bit to the conversation that Kurla and Riz had with Cloak, and Kurla admitting that they had enjoyed it more
yeah.
than they. Yeah. So I enjoyed that conversation. Thank you for setting that up. So there was a lot that Kurla has taken from that is going to propel them in interesting directions. They weren't immediately very decisive coming out of that conversation in terms of what to do now that their sisters' two parts of the soul were coming together, and not in a way that they could really affect.
Stitch that all together.
Yeah, because as soon as they were brought together, like, the part of Verla that was, like, active and conscious was, like, feeling this overwhelming urge to reunite, and it was torturous to them. So that was something.
Yeah.
Like north and south pole of a magnet.
So, in the instance of having these pieces together, I could feel based on how you were talking that you wanted to talk it over with the party first. And I was like, look, we're going to have to hear this kid scream if we don't stop your spell. And, like, honestly, that sounds more terrible on my end. So, if you really want to talk to the party about this.
Oh, it was a dark scene. I liked it.
It was. Had
Sure.
Riz not said what they did, Kurla probably would have brought them together then and there.
There was a lot of... Well, my question is, as a player, did you want to talk to the party first, or did you want to do it then?
I probably would have been happy either way.
Okay. The vibes I was getting was that you wanted to communicate with the party, so I was trying to lead it towards that way.
I appreciate that. I would have been content either way. But the way that it did happen, and the kind of the darkness there, and again the stark contrast between how Riz handles things and how Kurla handles things, and yet the fact that Kurla still puts so much trust and faith in Riz is kind of interesting. And something has happened off screen that Keni is now. What's up?
Oh, Xeno hit himself.
I destroyed my hand. It's not
Oh,
bleeding
no.
yet, but
Oh no!
fucked up.
Sucks to suck. That's what you get for making that face at me, bitch.
It's more destroyed than Skrewy's going to be after episode 50.
But yeah, we talked about. Carla brought this back to the party and discussed the conversation with them because when you talk to that which hungers, it's kind of important to loop in the rest of the party after the fact, but not before. Before, if you're just, sitting on the Vardo and chilling, you can do it without telling the person sitting next to you.
Yep.
Sorry, Keni.
Look, I'm just glad I didn't lose a fucking arm out of this.
I see. Again, this is a question of how much Curla trusts Riz and respects Riz, despite everything else. They're pretty sure that Riz could have just destroyed them with the click of their fingers if needs be.
Yeah, but if you just launch at me and take a big chunk out of my fucking arm, that's a bit hard to deal with.
I mean, that's Petravian can heal that. Vera can heal that.
I got regenerate.
That's
Do you have
not the
regenerate?
issue. The issue isn't that you can heal it. The issue is that it would happen.
Of course, it'd be a insect arm. So
Fuck
Yeah.
off about
Oh,
that
boy.
shit. Riz ain't letting you touch them.
I mean, as a player, I completely understand that, but in character, I think it was very impulsive, but it was impulsive based on a knowledge that, or a feeling that the rest of the party could pretty much take care of them if needs be. And maybe even a slightly self-destructive kick that has been a theme with them.
Sure, but at the same time, like, understand Riz's point of view is like,
No, I do.
okay.
I see it both ways. That's
I
why it's
understand
fun.
that point for Kurla, but also that I'm trying to be like, hey, understand that this is their point of view. They're getting fucked over a lot, it feels like.
Potentially fucked over. It all worked out fine.
I had to listen to your sister cry. That was pretty awful. Mostly because Riz never trusted it from the beginning. Something always
Yeah.
felt off.
It's another point of contention between them. But talk to the party, and feels like it kind of went round and round. In that,
usually do.
Well, mostly because in the end it was just Kurla's decision, and everyone was like, "We can't do this for you. This is your character development. Sorry."
no, that's really not what they were after, though. They were concerned in that this could affect the party, and it would saddle the party with a certain responsibility if things did go sideways, because as Kurla said, if they resurrect this person and it's evil, they're not going to be able to deal with that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I
Chil-
didn't get to say it, but Riz was gonna be like, "I'll kill them. I'll
Chil-
do it so you don't have to."
Children have very low hit dice. So
It's true. They got the HP of a fucking Cheez-It, bitch. Woo!
Kind of not the point.
Even still, like, the whole point is that we've got like 5 to 6 people against a child. We weren't too worried about that part.
It's not the difficulty, though. It's not the mechanical difficulty or the combat difficulty. It's the emotional difficulty.
I didn't trust
mean-
it from the beginning.
I mean,
so.
if it's a ghoul,
If it's a
then
ghoul,
it
yeah.
don't matter.
Like, half of the party's already dealt with that in real life, like with Levette and Petravian and Vera. They already had to deal with that, so they're like, yeah, it happens, I guess.
I mean, technically, you're still dealing with it. That's the nature of Kurla's curse. But in any case,
It's
It was-
different, though, and you know that.
it was an interesting conversation,
Mhm.
and eventually led to another conversation with Valuna. I'm curious how you both thought that went, Beardy and Keni.
I mean, I like describing it. I'm trying to be more flourished with how Riz does these, because I was like, you know what? Talking to a god's pretty damn important, even if it seems like nothing to Riz. It should feel important to other people, probably.
No,
So I was trying to be a bit more oomphy with this one, especially because the contact with Valuna didn't work for Kurla last time. So they were really trying to make it more ceremonial this time. So I had fun with that
I
part.
talked to a lot of gods here.
I did. It was a lot of god days.
Yeah.
What about you, Beardy?
Well, I mean, Valuna didn't have a whole lot to say or go over, just kind of to more present in like a stark vision of like how much Verla was suffering in that moment, and that was pretty much it. Like, that's all she really had to say.
So
Because Valoon is a very kind god
Yeah.
about like helping people and being good, like being nice.
harboring people, you know.
Yeah, like rendering aid where needed. Like Valoon is a very helpful, chill god and does not like to see anything suffer. So that was like, hey,
Stop that.
knock that off.
Was the... Sorry, go ahead, Kenny.
Oh, I was gonna say, because Riz wasn't explained to that contacting Voluna was for the sister thing, I think they were a little upset because it was, again, they were like, oh, okay, you've made your decision and you want to have contact with this god so that we can work towards, like, separating you from that which hungers. It was about your sister again, and they were pissed!
I think it's building towards that. But, you know, they've never talked to this god before. Now, having talked to this god directly, and the conversation that Kurla and Riz had afterwards, I think that will inform Kurla's decision of which, if any, god to try and follow once they can be separated, if they can be separated from that which hungers. So that it's setting the stage for that. But yeah, at that moment, it was more about if Verla's soul is re-put together and if it is released to move on, Kurla is scared that soul's gonna be gobbled up again by that which hungers, and kind of wants to make sure that actually it's into the care of another god. And I don't know if that came across clearly or not, but that was their goal in that conversation.
It seemed like Kurla didn't understand that the soul was still connected to them. Which I found a little more surprising because I was like, I feel like we said that.
No, that was clear. The thrust of the conversation was meant to be, if the soul is released, will you take care of it? Will you make sure that it's okay versus that which hungers gobbling it up? That's what Kurla was trying to get across, and apparently that didn't quite land.
I have a theory, just based on like how we've talked about gods before. Because you guys were in a cult-like situation and worshipping a lot of gods, it might just be that they're taken to the big whirlpool in the afterlife and then distributed how the gods see fit. So
I think Beardy kind of mentioned that in character as Verla, that Verla had got a glimpse of that but was frightened by it. I think that was part of an earlier conversation with Verla, and maybe Beardy, you recall that better. Maybe not.
Sounds about right. I don't recall clearly right now.
Oh, in any case, depending on what happens in the future with Verla's soul, now that it is combined and still stuck with Kurla has that decision ahead of them.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned actually in terms of the resurrection spells that the consent is not a problem, because this is what would paralyze Kurla going forward. Well, I don't know what Verla wants. Should I try and resurrect? Should I just release? But it is baked into the spell that the soul has a choice in whether or not to come back. So,
correct.
With more in-character reflection on that, and some out-of-character reflection on what path I want to take in regards to which spells and how to do it, yeah, that will happen at some point soon. One way or the other. And I'm honestly not sure which way Kurla will go on that. Bringing them back into a world that's on the brink of destruction doesn't necessarily seem like the wisest choice. But on the other hand,
that's how I feel about children in general nowadays.
Right. On the other hand, releasing their soul with the possibility that it's going to get screwed over by that which hungers, or already is in some way tainted by that which hungers, and will end up just feeding that which hungers again, versus being taken care of by the other gods or by Voluna, that's also a thought that's going to fester. So it may have to wait until Kurla has managed to separate themselves from that which hungers, if they can. I don't know. It's...
And, of course, the other issue, though, would be that if you die with it in your possession, it's going to go straight to that which hungers, probably.
That is true. So there is kind of a time limit. There's a lot of pressure. But it's fascinating to me as a player to have Kurla at this point in their arc. So last night was kind of a major moment for them.
See,
their arc.
here's if you do release, and it does go to the Sorwell
Whirlpool?
The
world.
siphon? Is
Sor-
that it?
The Grand Whirlpool in
Uh,
the afterlife.
exactly.
Thanks, Owen.
Could that Witch Hungers even have a claim to it?
Why not?
Because they gave it freely back to Kurla,
But,
free and clear. No,
but I mean,
no strings.
if Verla's soul belongs to Kurla and Kurla's soul is bound up and kind of claimed by that which hungers,
Oh,
Yeah,
there's
it's-
that connection.
It's like
It's like buying.
the umbilical
Sounds like an
cord's still
estate.
stuck together.
It's like you buy Activision and then you get all those properties.
oh. That's what stinks about when they get sucked
I
up
was going to
by-
say like A equals B and B equals C, thus A equals C, but yeah.
We don't do
same.
math here. The computer does the math
It's
rocks
not-
for us.
That's not math. That's letters.
Shut the fuck
Like
up.
it's like the math rocks.
But yeah, that conversation kind of wraps up, and that moment in the story and in Kurla's arc wrapped up, and they went inside. Meanwhile, Jiro and Riz had some nice interactions,
Yeah. It's just
and
getting to know
yeah, go ahead.
him. It was very sweet. Because there's so many unknowns about Jiro other than like earlier interactions, so a lot of things just kind of culminating in this is a wise soul that like Riz can talk to now, that I think is very comforting, because in a lot of cases everyone's very, very young in comparison to them. So having that issue and not having a more worldly view sometimes, it just makes conversations a little more one-sided, they feel, probably. So yeah, Jiro is refreshing, I'd say.
And they're both kind of people outside of their world. They're both in their own ways world travelers. So they have a bit in common.
I was curious about a particular comment that came up,
Yeah.
which was the whole that Jiro's comment about Riz's cooking and preferring the in-person cooking and preferring the real Vardo to the rope trick Vardo Vargon. Your response was that no, actually it wasn't a burn. Riz didn't take it that way at all.
No, it absolutely, I don't even think it was meant to be insulting in any way.
Well,
the
no,
fact of the
but
matter is the Vardo without the rope trick spell, that stuff's more real. And to Riz, their home without the rope trick spell is their real home. The other stuff is what they've made to accommodate for other people. But if they were
Interesting.
just traveling alone by themselves, like, it would just be that, as it is inside the Vardo. That space is perfect for them.
We're just talking about the cooking though. Before it's still real
It's
food, right?
subtext. It's still real food, but it's because it was made real. Like, with their real stove and all that stuff,
Okay.
so in the short period when it was just Kurla and Riz before the rest of the party met up, was Riz using Vardo Vargon, or was
That's
it?
correct.
Okay,
They started that right away for Kurla.
gotcha.
It's
Oh,
just
that
so
makes sense.
nice. It fits like one person in well, 1 to 2 people in a bed, but I don't think they were there yet when they first met.
Yep, that makes sense. So from that conversation, we had a bit of a gut punch fairly shortly thereafter. Another long kind of teased, long setup
Beardy was tired of Grem not getting it.
arc. Much love to Graham, by the way, when you do watch this, and best wishes. But yeah, everything finally came to a head with Archie, and it was revealed that some of their, or all of their, misstatements and kind of odd behavior was a certain kind of cognitive decline, or soul decline. Beardy, you wanna speak to that?
Sure. So yeah, it's something that I had intended on starting after your guys' adventure in Dis, and after Levette's choice was made. this is sort of the repercussion from that, that Archie would become less and less of a person over time, and become more and more of an automaton and function within a very basic role instead of being a creative individual with spark and thoughts and feelings and friendships. And yeah, I wanted to make it kind of gradual and slow, and I think a lot of people were picking up that there was something definitely wrong, but enough time had passed that it was like, okay, it's time to really start like dropping the hammer here to make sure everybody's well aware of what's happening, because it's not getting better, and you all have to figure out what you can do about it, or if you want to do anything about it, what can be done. So that's why folks wanted to contact Voska to see about that.
The wham line was definitely master. Why are they upset? The addressing Levette as master again. Oof. That hit everyone, I think, probably right in the... Because, I mean, it's Archie.
What are you talking about?
He's just a
I didn't-
construct.
He's just a construct.
Players.
Very
It
gets
hit
it.
the players in the heart, surely. Even if not the characters.
I mean, just because it acts a bit less human.
Wow.
So, yeah.
We never
You
said
dialed
Harold's
up-
a good person.
Not
You
once.
dialed up Voska,
Yes.
and
I got to change the house while we were in there, which Riz doesn't like doing normally.
it was a very cool moment, though. The visuals were great, so thank you for that.
And this one was their own volition to contact the god, so they were really fine with all the instance, because they're like, it's go time. We're taking care of Archie now. Fuck this. So it was very fun. We got to hear a voice for Voska this time in comparison to the last time, so that was really fun.
Very smooth voice, very deep voice.
Yeah.
I dug the voice for Voska. It sounded like, Big Smith.
I liked it a lot, Beardy. What's up?
I was just his voice. I'm trying to make him not sound like Santa Claus.
Why are you talking
But
about Santa Claus then?
I suppose it's just. I think it's an effect of the vocalizer on that. It just sort of adds a Santa-like quality to everything I say, and it's like it's not really what I'm entirely going for, but it works out. He's meant to be kind of jovial and jolly, so it works out.
Yeah. So I thought it was really great getting to contact him and having like the fire like go up on the bodies of the two people contacting him. It was fun illustrating that verbally. And I think it's nice that the answer isn't given right away, obviously, but more as we're going to figure it out together, which I think is really good and probably healthy for Levette for the most part, although Levette probably is like, I want this fixed now.
I mean, I feel that.
I will be very
boy.
curious to see if the solution that comes up, or that is created, stops Archie's decline and enables him to begin growing again as a person, or if it actually reverses the decline and brings him back to where he was at the beginning of that decline. And I doubt you're going to give that away, Beardy, but my fear is that it's going to be probably the former, and that we'll never have Archie again as he once was, which is tragic. But on the flip side, it gives Archie, again, that fresh opportunity to grow, and for Levette and folks to help guide him in his growth. So, pluses and minuses?
He'll have to relearn. If that's the case, he would have to relearn all of the lessons again.
All right,
Let's
someone
get him a
buy
dog!
Yes,
Gotta
let's
get him a
get the dog again.
dog.
Woo!
Let's get them a cat this time.
One more.
Plu,
I-
give them Plu.
Oh, this sucks today. What's wrong with us?
Terrible.
You keep asking about Plu. Have you ever done like a fucking perception check recently for that? Or you're just like, I'm looking.
No, I have not done a perception check. The next time we're on our trip, yes, when we're just moving about, I am going to be like, Where is that little bastard?
The real Plu is the friends we made along the way.
It's Petravian.
I am yeah.
Maybe that's why he's been such a jerk. So maybe that's why he was okay with terrorism.
I would have said Plu had replaced Petravian up until like the stuff that went down in Prota, and then that kind of was like, okay, it must still be the real Petravian. But for a while there, I did think that Petravian had been replaced by Plu.
What changed that?
I mean, just all the interactions with the gods. I don't think that necessarily Eden and Mellifera would have reacted to a Plu Petravian in the same way that they would to a real Petravian.
Soul.
Wow. Yeah. Gets
Well, the
into the
Plu
whole
doesn't
soul
eat.
thing.
No. They don't eat the soul.
Yeah, they replaced the body. That was
They replace the
point.
body, so they would absolutely know that that's not Petravian.
I think this was the whole
I
point.
mean,
We
if
don't know if
they
it does
think
anything.
they're Petravian and they act like Petravian and do the same things. I mean, they're still technically worshippers then.
Yeah, well, we're getting into weird metaphysical territory.
And once again, we never actually figured out
We
whether or not
didn't.
the souls
We just
are actually
left.
part of them.
We did just leave. Well, we asked. Did we ask Alec to keep an eye on them?
No.
We asked
We asked Karis to keep an
to
eye on
send
them.
someone because Levette fucking wouldn't pick
Wouldn't-
Alec
yeah.
to do it because
And
Alec.
then they only stayed like a week or two.
Yeah. You know what?
Yeah.
What the Queen of Dareham and fucking book probably would have made like better effort because it's like, ooh, this could potentially be a bad thing. We should probably send some people to watch this for a while. But no.
Yeah, I think. Well, we'll have to see in future seasons if the
Rip.
consequences of that come back to bite us, because Beardy has made clear many times that.
Maybe they already have bitten us. Maybe we're all just jelly creatures.
I was from the beginning. Little
Already.
glue, glue,
Yeah, what we do has ramifications for the wider world going forward, and
It always has. Not even going forward.
well, obviously, I mean, all of season 1 is set up
I
season
mean,
2,
like,
and
all the stuff we've done in this season as well. Like, little details add up. It's just we don't see it right away. That's the thing.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned before, but I want to make like a slideshow almost at
Of,
the
like,
end.
Reason A is what happened to make this.
Well, to be like, this is what happened after the campaign. To, like,
Yeah.
Like
bridge the point between 2 and 3 to be like,
Fucking love Dragon Age.
to get in there and do like
Vegas.
the narration at the end. And because of their actions, this blah blah blah, and these 3 towns were destroyed by ravenous slime people. Things like that.
You'll want to know
I'm
what
looking
happened in the
forward to
Steam
making
aisle.
it. Oh, I
Still
can
eager to see.
Yeah.
wait to
What?
tell you. I can wait. Snake Eyes is an exciting thing that I'm excited to get back to.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
And if you want to learn more about Snake Eyes and listen to the episodes that have been released, you should check out the wiki, shameless plug.
True that.
Truth.
So, after all of that gets set in motion, Jiro has a conversation with the group as well about Kintao and what to expect as we gain access, hopefully, to Kintao, but as we grow ever closer to the wall. Yeah, that was
This bitch.
dramatic.
Oh, I was having a heart attack trying to convince him not to kill himself right away. I was in so much pain, Beardy. I was like, I can't do this. I can't have this bitch die on me.
It's very clear, like, this is one of their biggest taboos. Like, you do not do this in their society, and if you do, it's expected that you do not survive.
Look, Riz has never, like, begged like this other than to, like, gods, pretty much. This is weird.
It is interesting the attachment that Riz has formed to Jiro in a relatively short period of time.
Well, I got a message about something when we were out with Voluna that just said, Jiro is holding your hand while this is happening. And I was just like, oh!
Interesting.
Beardy, you bastard.
He wants me to get attached, and I already am.
It could certainly have quite a dramatic. I mean, it already is having a dramatic impact on Riz as a character. But depending on how things do turn out with Jiro, whether or not he survives this next adventure, either way, that's going to impact Riz pretty heavily. Do you have thoughts on that, Keni?
Well, might do bad things.
Ooh, bad things for good reasons.
Yeah, that's Riz, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or good things they're trying to do that end up making people upset.
No, that's me. Oh, sorry,
No,
that's
that's everyone.
Yeah, they're gonna try every page in their book to keep this man alive, I guess.
Mm.
We have the means.
But
We have
Jiro
the
also
means,
kind of-
it's just not ethical.
Eh.
a Gias.
No. Because he'd just be like, I'll die, bitch.
Yeah, like what the
The Gias gonna stop him from killing himself? The Gias will kill him!
Yeah, that's the point of the Gias.
Oh, good point. I was thinking of like conditional curse or something, which is less about the death. You can have other effects kick in from that. But anyway, Jiro also kind of explains the procedure that we need to undertake, whom we need to speak to at the gate, and if we don't get a chance to speak to them, what we can expect from the golem-esque soldiers, the tireless, sleepless protectors, and their ballistas.
Which
And-
are, I'm assuming folks here are familiar with the Terracotta Army.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I
why
was
I was
assume-
geeking
yep.
the fuck out!
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
That's where my
So-
mind went, and it's very
So
cool.
so like historically, it was this incredible amount of terracotta people that were put into one of the tombs of I can't remember. Sorry, I'm trying to remember his name, but it's complicated. I don't remember it exactly.
Lord
Anyway.
of the Nails, I believe.
No, that's Levette.
But in his tomb, and the idea was that it's supposed to be kind of this show of vast wealth and force, to be like, he has this many people that are willing to stand to defend him even in death. And this is a cool concept, and it's like, well, in a fantasy setting, what would that look like? And it's like, well, what if they were all just terracotta golems? What would that look like? And it's like, well, they would use them for national defense. So they've just got this incredible amount of terracotta golems guarding this enormous wall, and keeping the riffraff out. You guys are the riffraff.
True.
The barbarians
You
at the
know-
gate, literally.
There is
Literally.
something I noticed based on how Jiro was talking. He said the Emperor, made these, right?
Yeah, he molded them out of the clay of the earth with his bare hands.
But it wasn't like a past Emperor did this. He said Emperor. This bitch is a fucking lich, isn't he?
I'm not saying that,
Fuck.
but he did imply that the emperor, the current
It's different.
emperor,
Like, it's not normal.
the current emperor, the one sitting the throne, molded these with his bare hands. So,
The wall's
This is
been
not
there
a new-
for fucking what?
and the wall's been there for as long as anybody has recorded history.
And people
So-
don't talk to the Emperor. Like,
Yeah, people don't talk to him.
Yeah.
Which,
This bitch is a fucking lich.
although if we do get a chance to talk to
Or
him,
a
that's useful,
dragon.
because if he was the same emperor who was in charge when
What else?
the war occurred and when the megaspells collided to create the Deadlands, then he would have first-hand knowledge of that spell, and he would certainly be the authority on it.
you could beat it out of him.
Yeah, there you go. This is a perfect plan.
That'll
was-
work well.
More
I was gonna
about
ask
conversation.
nicely.
Yeah.
Show him some of our village barbarian ways.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Just ask nicely
Get in there,
first.
start cracking ankles. Let's do this.
Cracking eggs, my new single.
So, Jiro gives us sort of etiquette pointers and an overview of what to expect militarily, and we, as a party, try and make a plan for how best to approach the gate and how best to figure out how to talk to the prefect. And Dune shenanigans ensue,
Bear wanted to show us her new worm buddy.
Yeah.
which was
very
fantastic. I really
nice.
enjoyed it.
Hey, we need to get in there some way if we can't go through the gate.
I ended
Tunnel
up
under the
scaling
gate.
my horse.
Yeah,
I felt
poor
real
horse.
bad. I think this is the first time I felt that bad for the horse so far in the campaign. I was like, oh no, I did a bad thing. Oh.
Just wait until part 2.
Part 2?
Yeah.
Part 2 of what?
Or we do the whole worm thing.
No.
Yeah.
Look,
This will end well.
if we can get through this gate as peacefully as possible, I feel like we have better chances of talking to the Emperor peacefully.
Yeah.
Breaking
I think
knees.
if we have to sort of
I'll break your fucking knees. With
leave
a
in a path of
disintegrate spell.
death and destruction all the way to the capital and like into whatever palace the emperor inhabits is probably not going to stand us in good stead.
It could work.
Diplomacy.
I mean, kick in that door. I bet you guys can pull it off.
Beardy, I swear to God. But, yeah, my hope is that we're able to diplomacy our way inside the gate. But before that, the worm shenanigans, scaring my horse, but I thought the spell was super cool. How strong, if you don't mind me asking, Xeno, how strong is this worm normally as, like, a more spell-wise thing?
I mean, it's like a powerful. It's like 4 times the size of. Is it 4 times the size of a typical one? I forget. What's
4 times the weight.
the weight?
So it has 4 times the mass of a typical one. Because it's one size category bigger.
Than
So it's, instead of being gargantuan, it's colossal. So it's real big.
Toyota Scion.
It's,
in-
it's a
in
it's a
feet?
5x5 creature. It's fucking stupid.
okay, so that's like 25 in diameter at least.
Yeah, it'd be
25 foot.
25 feet long by 25 feet wide is its block on the map.
Okay.
So it's big. I realize that
big
Archie,
boy.
as large as he is a 3x3. And this is a 5x5. So it's
just-
literally the largest size in the game.
Fucking
Damn.
walk into the Emperor's place. Just worm comes up. Hi, we're here to talk.
Yeah.
Does it get blown up? Oh well.
Into the worm, guys.
We just need an army of these to kind of like take down the shield. Sorry, again. Dune. I did want to actually. We missed one point about Jiro in that you were able to convince Jiro to at least hold off on going through with his responsibility.
Just a little bit. Thank you, rerolls. Holy shit. Panic
And the
attack
assist from
moment.
Levette, so.
Yeah, thanks to Levette, we were able to convince him. But, oh my god, my heart was beating so much. I was freaking the fuck out. I was about to cry, Beardy, if it ended up being like, nope, I'm dying. And I'm like, I'm gonna have to fucking... God fucking
We know
do-
what we gotta do.
I know what I gotta do if he, like... If it's my last option to keep him alive, it's just not ethical.
That's not the
I
floor.
can't tell you, Beardy, because you'll plan around it. I'm sorry.
Oh no! What? Oh, this isn't right. Oh no.
Yeah,
know, I
make
tell
sure
you
not to tell the
everything.
DM what your
Yeah.
plan is.
I don't know. I mean, if anything, we'll talk about it later, as we always do. Because I don't know about you guys, but I'm always talking to Beardy. I'm like, what about this thing and this thing and this thing? I was thinking about this. Whoa, what about this idea? I don't know how he hasn't gotten sick of me.
No, I only send over my ideas because I don't want to fuck something up.
Really?
I only send.
Ooh. Ooh, that one actually must have stung. Ow.
I send over ideas because I want to make sure the way I perceive what the intention of the spell or the whatever the widget is the way it actually is, and not completely different.
I get
Like, you
that
don't
because
wanna
you
break-
used to have a lot of issues like that. I think a lot in season 1.
Season 1.
Yeah, I mean, you
Yeah,
don't want to, as a
yeah.
player, break the game or the environment. That makes sense.
But at
Whereas
the same-
Petravian does introduce some elements of chaos, but that's not in a breaking way. That's in a adorable Petravian way.
But at the same time, you should feel free to message, like, if you just have a fun idea too, not just be worried about making mistakes.
Well, it's not that it's not even more so making mistakes. I don't want to get to to do it, and also delay motion
But
of
no,
the game.
I mean, like, you only message him for that?
No, I say hi and I send memes. I said memes and funny shit.
I mean, I brainstorm with Beardy a lot. I consider
Oh.
my character going forward a lot when I talk to him. I say, ooh, if this happens, I think I'd have to go in this direction. I give him multiple paths constantly, and then, like, something will happen where I'll be like, okay, this is actually the direction I go based on this now. And all of that, I talk to him, like, all the time about that. He has so much information on me to use against me because I want him to. Use it against
That's
me.
That's what makes it fun.
That's what makes it fun. Destroy me, Daddy.
Right.
There's a lot there. There's a lot there.
Really?
A lot there to unpack.
Not really. Like, we can just talk about it. Like, I'm not scared. People are afraid of their stuff. I'm not.
Yeah. So I've always said that I feel like if you want something to happen in the game in a certain way, talking to the DM about it between games is the best way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
To be like, hey, here's what I am doing for this. This is what I want to happen. Here's how I'm considering it can be done. And then we would have a dialogue about like, okay, well, what about that? What about this? What this? What this? And we kind of come to an idea of like how the story could move in that direction. So, you know, anyone out there listening, if you want to do something cool, talk to your DM about it. If your DM, if your immediate response when I say that is thinking like, well, no, why would I tell the DM that? The DM will just plan against me. Then you're in a bad
not
game.
Your enemy,
Like,
and shouldn't
if-
be.
So,
If
some
the case-
DMs, yo.
But they're a bad DM then.
Right.
Yes.
So, my point is like, if you're in a situation where you say, well, I can't tell my DM what I'm planning because then he'll just use it, like he'll just get one up over on me and win.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're in a bad game, and you need to get a better game.
If the goal
Like,
is winning,
The
you're in a
goal is
bad
never-
game.
Yeah, like the goal is not winning, and the DM is not the bad guy. It's not the enemy. It's not an adversarial
No,
game.
He's my mom and my boyfriend and my girlfriend
Skeleton
and
number
my
2.
husband and
And the skeleton down
and-
the hallway that's
That's
trying to
true.
eat you.
also
true.
the lich lady queen, and a dragon, and he's everything. I love you.
Well, the shenanigans with the worm lead to quite a nice moment between Jiro and Riz trying to calm the horse with an apple, and the horse being a little bit difficult to calm.
For a real
Dense.
long time.
Yeah,
Look,
it did take a long time for the horse to eat the apple.
I in turn technically held Jiro's hand too after he did it first. So it's fine. It's not weird.
Buff.
But what I noticed is that the horse actually took the apple when I like properly apologized. Not any other reason did it move before then. So I don't know if it's fucking happenstance or if Beardy's testing me.
Just fucking kill the horse.
No!
We shouldn't
See what
touch the
happens.
horse. We shouldn't approach the horse.
Oh god, what happens if a ballista bolt goes through it?
Bye bye, Adrian.
I no talk no more.
We'll
I did
understand you.
Will
We
you?
I
got
liked-
the goop. We got the goop.
As
I
a
don't know.
character, I don't think Curler was too keen on the anti-horse, but as a player, I loved it.
I don't
the concept of it
understand
as the
it.
anti-horse.
I apologize. I don't fully understand the joke.
It's like antimatter and matter colliding. It's like, but it's a horse, so
It
it's the
causes
anti-horse. That's
annihilation.
the way I took the kind of silliness there.
What the fuck?
No? Well, I mean, you don't like science fiction,
No,
so
sorry.
that
There was a
kind
weird
of-
comment.
No, I was just talking to.
That had to be deleted.
Get it though?
Yes.
I'm gonna respond to it though.
You're such a bitch.
No.
Oh.
Oh, something in the.
Yeah.
Step it.
Anyway.
I have to moderate all this shit.
Ah, gotcha. Well, something else weird kind of happened in that interaction, and he mentioned that the horse only sort of responded when Riz apologized, which speaks to potentially a certain higher level of sentience in the horse than we had previously seen, which perhaps ties in with what happened with Petravian when they attempted to detect desire on the horse. And I have to... Again, this was episode 50, so I do have to apologize for the burns that came about from me with
No, that's
Petravian
fine.
trying to detect desires, but...
Okay. It's okay. It's okay. It had
Episode
been
50.
building up the entire episode, and it's okay. I get it.
Disgusting. Can't believe you did.
And
Shame on me.
no, the fact that okay, so that with Travian's charisma score, 20. No, if I have a +5. In any case, that is a. They have to have something above 30, 32. I think you said, Beardy.
What now?
Talking about the reaction that Petravian had to detecting desire on the horse. The stunned.
Oh,
reaction
right.
and
Yeah,
the
you tried to use
charisma
the
score stuff.
Right. So you read in the description of the spell, which was
Yeah.
that if the target has a charisma score above 26 and also at least 10 points higher than the caster, then it will stun the target for 1 round. And you got stunned for 1 round. So,
That is a.
and your charisma's 21, which would imply that the horse's
least
charisma
31.
is at least 31.
Which, yeah.
What was a charisma score
Doesn't-
above that? I like.
I'm now going to have to revisit the entry for True Seeing and see whether or not what was seen of the horse with True Seeing is actually can be relied upon, or if there's another layer of obfuscation and illusion going
There's
on
always
here.
another layer of obfuscation.
Well,
There's a lot of
Terrible.
fucking curses.
Yeah, it's curse on top of curse on top of curse.
So, this is a general question. Every creature, in theory, has a idea of a stat block, basically, correct?
I mean,
Not
You-
fleshed out, obviously, but
you
in
only
essence.
you only stat something if you intend on the players to kill it. Like that's kind of like the old rule of thumb is like if you stat it, it will die. So the idea is, I'm only going to make a stat block for something if I think that it's something the party can actually kill. So in that case, no, it doesn't have a stat block.
That's why Deadlift doesn't
Okay.
have a
Okay.
stat block made
That's
yet.
why.
Correct.
Solicity didn't have a stat block either.
Okay, no, see that, and that's basically my questioning is, if something with a obscene aspects in their stat block to me means they are on a different level, like
Mhm.
deity or something. You know what I mean?
Or something, yeah.
Or something.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
like
of course.
so
It's just a
Anti-horse.
horse.
bullshit.
Something's
It's anti-horse.
just occurred to me, and I don't know how it would jive with everything else that we know about the horse, which isn't much. But Riz's lost memories, if the horse is some sort of personification of the memories and the time and the identity that Riz is missing,
Yeah.
has that come up before as a theory?
I've had that rolling around in my head. I just did not want to put it out in the world.
What?
And we have had themes of like characters being sort of like fractured in some way. That would be odd, wouldn't it?
Huh.
I mean, they are complementary and they are connected quite deeply. So if that horse is another aspect of Riz that has been separated, it would follow with the sort of missing memories and missing time and them being a link to their past and the first thing that they precious to them. Yeah, okay, interesting.
Or maybe it's entirely a red herring, and I just think it's funny to throw you guys in the wrong direction.
Also
Given
true.
up.
Also
I've
very,
given
very
up.
true.
I've already talked to Beardy a couple of times about how I've thrown out theories just because I'm like, yeah, I thought maybe it could be this, but that wouldn't make sense because of this and this and this.
Mhm.
There's so many
'Cause-
theories I've thrown out. It doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, I mean, the one that I remember the most clearly is the Riz is a dragon theory.
That was like the earliest, but
That
it
was,
wasn't
like-
even me who guessed that
No,
one.
it was. I know it
originally.
wasn't even your theory. That was someone else's theory. Because you relate it to me.
Yeah,
As
because I
that
was
someone
hoarding
else talked
gold,
to you.
you know?
Yeah.
Are we maybe I can't ask this question, but I'm going to anyway. What is the likelihood that we are going to find out what Riz's story is by the end of this season? Is that something that you would leave unexplored if it didn't come up naturally in the narrative, or is that a goal of yours to make sure that that does receive some degree of resolution?
I'm never going to say never, as far as like there is always a possibility for something that is not in my plan, because that's kind of the beauty of these sorts of games. But it is fully my intention for that to be clearly explained by the end of the season. So I would say that the probability of that is something like 98%.
Okay.
I suppose it is possible that Riz could die, and you're all just like, nah, we're just going to re-roll a new character. And just, like...
No, that's
as
it. I just only produce the show at that point. I'm done!
Yeah. So, I think at that level, barring unforeseen circumstances, that is fully expected that you all will progress that story all the way to the end, and you'll find out the true nature of the character, yada, yada, yada. So, yeah, I think that's going to happen. Now, maybe you guys don't get there. Maybe something happens. Maybe you decide that you don't want to, you'd rather not know. I don't know. I'm not going to assume your guys' thoughts and actions too much. I'm going to try to plan around things that are possible, but that seems a little bit beyond what you guys would be willing to do. So, like I said, 98%.
Cool.
Beardy has all my plans so far.
Most of them, minus one, apparently.
Individual.
We'll talk about it later. I won't talk about it in front of the audience yet.
Okay.
Riz certainly remains very mysterious, as does their plan to demonstrate to the Kintao what's happening and why the Kintao should help, or at least allow us access to do what we need to do. Riz has a plan, but they're not quite ready to tell us what it is. Keni, thoughts on that?
Well, it's something that me and Beardy have kind of talked over here and there, because we were tossing out what ifs, because we do that normally when we sit and talk. And sometimes I just say things that I'm like, oh yeah, I could totally do this thing. And he'll go, have you ever done that before? And I'll be like, no, can I try? And yeah, it's usually we'll see. And so I have a plan. He knows fully what this one is based on a very recent conversation we've had. And if he needs reminders, we always talk about this stuff, so it's not a big deal. But because I don't know if it'll work or not, I'm gonna wait and see how disastrous this goes.
If it goes disastrously, will it go disastrously for Riz, for the
Probably.
party, or for the world?
I mean, you guys will probably find that spell somehow.
Oh, the mega spell, right.
That's our goal of being here. Technically.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my god.
So,
Was there another goal that I was unaware of?
yeah, was there... I mean, like, if it wasn't for the fact that we were doing this, I wouldn't have the issue of Jiro might have to die. So...
Sarcasm is just not landing. Anyway. We approach the gate.
Yeah, and I asked Kurla for help on charisma checks. Because I was gonna talk to them. And Levette just fucking goes for it. Because, I even, pantomimed putting my hands up to, start talking to them. And Grem just starts, and I was like, oh.
And I'm just like...
Yeah, that took me by surprise as well. I was all set. I had a couple of good buffs, one of which I've never used before, that's designed specifically for diplomacy, but
it was perfect. It was perfect. I really couldn't have asked for a better kind of unfolding of that situation. It's just so us.
The assumption that whoever's on this gate is going to speak whatever language that Levette is shouting.
It was
I mean, we do have the honey at least,
Yeah.
so
it was well phrased. I think it stands a fairly good chance in terms of in-universe having a good effect. Now, in terms of the mechanics, we'll find out if they're receptive to that, or if we're going to get another
Does anyone have,
ballista
To the head.
does anyone
bolt to the
have,
head.
the Kintones, whatever we called?
like naturally.
What was the question?
You gotta say it louder, Kyle. You mumbled that.
I just said, does anyone have the Kintones or whatever the fuck it's called?
Oh, like the language. Okay.
Apparently, Levette does too.
Is that right?
Mechanically, I do. In terms of a good story reason why Levette would, beg your pardon, why Kurla would have it, aside from the fact that they've traveled extensively, they've never traveled within Kintao. So the way that I was planning on playing that was Kurla, having been good with languages and having had that demonstrated in the past, was going to pick up Kintao as they went. So, in theory, Kurla could speak to them in Kintao right now, but it's not. I don't think it fits in terms of everything we know about Kintao within game. But hopefully they do speak the barbarian tongue, whatever was used by Levette.
If Levette was a weeb, they'd be speaking in Quay. Whatever, right?
Yeah, they'd be speaking Quasian. Yeah.
Quayan? Quail?
Quasian, yeah.
Quillian?
Quasian.
But
Something
yeah,
like
we
that, at least.
we ended
Oh,
on.
Levette does speak Kintao.
That's
Oh,
that's what we've been talking about because I've been paying attention to the chat, buddy.
I
That's why I said Levette
have
speaks.
not.
I even verbally said it.
okay. So we can assume then that Levette said that in Kintao, which makes things
Yeah.
a little bit more straightforward.
Mm-hmm. I just-
Hopefully their pronunciation is good.
Well, I think Beardy's statement might just be they might not talk a normal language. And I wonder, I don't know.
Maybe. We'll see.
We'll see what you feel like day of.
Yeah, that's it. We'll see if somebody gets a ballista bolt through their chest.
Well, if they did understand the message they received, I think it was again a well phrased message. It established what needed to be established. We're gonna see what happens. I hope we don't all die. I hope that we
mean-
get to see the worm again if we need to make a quick escape or need to go under the wall.
You'd have to get to the cart so that Riz can talk.
Fair point.
And then get to traumatize that horse.
How many days have
What is
passed?
the Big Bill joke? I feel like you guys were referencing something, but I didn't understand it.
The what?
It wasn't
The
in-
worm.
So, if I may guess, I am assuming that it was initially in reference to Bill the Pony, the greatest pony in the universe. But maybe I'm
No,
mistaken.
we were just making fun of the fact we were trying to do alliteration for the worm, and then it just kind of spiraled into just weird, just naming it just
Well, I mean,
silliness.
other people were trying to be alliterative, but the initial naming
It
of
was just
Bill.
Bill.
Bill
Right.
was literally the first name that popped into my head.
Okay,
Oh,
that's
okay.
fair. I
Yeah,
just
so
you've
the
been on
reference-
a-
what is Bill for sure?
You've been on
William,
a Lord of the Rings
and then
kick,
William
so I
the
assumed it
Worm,
was
Willie the
based
Worm.
after Bill the Pony.
Nope.
Okay.
Just the first name that popped into my head. It
Um,
looked like a Bill.
For some reason,
Bill,
my brain was like, maybe this is a SpongeBob SquarePants reference for some reason. Like, that was
Nope.
my gut feeling at first, and I was like, I don't know why anyone would do that.
Nope.
No reference intended, so any
Okay.
reference that people want to read into that, they're more than welcome to.
I just had to check because I was like, I don't know what this is. It feels like a reference based on how people are talking. Yeah. So we're at the gates, and we're gonna be in Kintao for the first time. Any of your campaigns have been in Kintao in this world, if I remember correctly.
Is
That is correct.
anybody worried about the next session?
Yes.
No?
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm not worried.
Oh yeah. Oh no, absolutely. It could go south really
We
fucking
can go
fast.
south,
We're
but
going east, not
we
south.
have a lot of contingencies.
You go east and then south.
Vera has a lot of
It could go very
contingencies.
bad very fast, I feel. Because when you have that many terracotta, and of course, they could just be just hit when you have a lot of them, it's like a Zerg rush. So, yeah,
The
it
guy
could
from
go south.
Buzz Lightyear?
Oh my god.
What?
Bless you. Bless you.
Oh, sorry.
Oh my god.
Pretty sure it's a StarCraft thing, but I honestly am not.
Yes,
100%
that is a
certain
StarCraft
either.
reference for when you want to just defeat somebody. You create a lot of a very cheap character that is very quickly turned over, and you just rush the enemy and just wipe them out super fast. So Zerg rush.
Did that many times to great avail as a young man.
It worked.
It worked until they eventually patched it. Yeah.
I agree. I'm a little bit nervous for Qingtao. It's going to be fairly dangerous, but we did, in case it wasn't clear to viewers, we did level up between this session and the previous one. So we're all perhaps sitting on some new skills, some new spells. We saw, I think, one of them demonstrated with the worm. That is a new ability for Vera, right, Xeno?
What was that?
Did that come about in the last level up, that to level 17, that ability to summon that worm?
It did. Like I could summon a purple worm before, but not the giant colossal one.
So we've got some new tricks up our sleeves to hopefully help us out, either in getting into Qingtao or in surviving Qingtao and getting out again.
Yeah,
Exciting though.
I'm not too worried for Vera at least, because I could probably get to the wall. I don't know what kind of magic they have, but at least for the arrows and ballista, if I'm in swarm, it shouldn't do that much. But I'm sure they have a bunch of other dragon bullshit or something. They're based on the Marks the Destroyer flashback we had. I'm sure there's a lot more bullshit. But also there was the point where we were told, oh, we have to be polite and shit, which that's going to be not happening for Vera, so get fucked, y'all.
We all tried to get our swearing out of our system, but I think...
You'll notice Vera was the only one not
Yep.
not getting that out of the system.
Oh dear.
Well, at least you got a pretty masks that help you talk to people now.
Mhm.
Which we got to see with the new title card art. I was
That's
really
true.
happy with that.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool work there.
As
Um,
always,
Gorgeous
thank you
work.
for the lovely title card art.
Yes, thank you, Kenny.
Curl's got to get it. We got to all put yellow on our
Yeah,
fucking costumes
Everyone's
now.
getting yellow so far, but Riz and... Oh, no, you
Curla.
actually have a little bit on your, like...
I have some gold. Like, my staff has gold right now, and there's, like, gold lining on my pieces. But I feel like to really hit home the, like, unified team, we gotta go all gold, baby.
I mean, Curla has the gold earring,
It's not enough.
gold fangs.
They're very
Doesn't
small.
work. They're very small. I mean, I have been considering a redesign for Curla, which might coincide with a change in deity. So you never know. Yellow might find its way in.
You gotta get full gold teeth, gold rings, and a lot of necklaces.
I'm gonna need you to have somebody 3D model that mask there, Xeno.
Both of them.
They're just going to end up in a slightly lighter shade of black.
Boy, do I hate coloring black, like, as an artist. Just a note. It is the worst. Like, dark colors are just the worst if you don't have, like, good enough lighting.
That's my favorite.
Because then it's just like, wow, you're a blob.
If
That's why Jiro's art needed to have, like, such intense fucking magical light sources. Because
Isn't that why? What's his name?
Who?
Venom. The original Venom. They had purple all over them,
probably.
so that they like to accentuate the.
So there was like
The-
highlighting on them,
So
so,
there
you
was
could actually see.
something.
So they could
Yeah.
make like muscle definition on the
was
character.
purple?
Otherwise,
Mm.
well, they use the purple for the
Royal
definition
blue.
lines.
Different.
technically the bangles for the lifelink spell are also all gold, and since Curla wears one for every member of the party to connect to the ones that everyone
Yeah,
else
but
is wearing,
that's-
their arms are basically all yellow. But yeah, that's not visible on the
Yeah.
card.
They have a brown cloak. Brown cloak to hide everything.
If and when they do end up changing deity, it's going to become blues and silvers, but that lies in the future.
I'm gonna tell you now, Kenny.
Hmm?
You're going to love Stavik.
Why? Is he gonna be all black character in color? Okay. I mean, I already know he has a hood, so I'm already pissed about that. Let's be honest. Fucking hate hoods. They're the worst.
Lots of
Hoods and
loose-fitting-
hats are the bane of my drawing existence. They never look good when I draw 'em. I've only like barely touched the surface of like being okay at a hood on Jiro's piece, and that's it. That's all I have.
Lots of loose-fitting clothing and hoods.
Ugh. It's no fun. There's nothing fun to draw.
Mm.
Well, apparently Graham is happy with Levette's hat, so that's
Oh yeah,
nice.
the one that I cut off purposely on the upper side of the image because it looked terrible otherwise. Sure. I can't draw hats for shit to make them look good on a body. It just looks like it's another piece. It's just like, yep, this was added
What
later.
if my person wears 3 hats?
I'm gonna kill you. You know what? I'll ask for a divorce.
Oh shit, son.
Oh my. Well,
Hats.
Oh, why'd you get a divorce? Oh, I asked for 3 hats on my D&D character.
We stopped being friends after that. But
well, yeah, on that note, unless anyone has anything
to add,
else to add to talk about for the next episode or future episodes, parting thoughts?
I don't want a ballista bolt to the face.
Oh,
does anyone? Well, with that being said, we will see you all next week for another episode, session, whatever we're calling it, of Check Please, episode 51. We'll see you next Saturday, 8? Just at 8. 8 p.m. Central Time. It's
Yeah.
been a hot minute.
Hey, where are the subs? Where are the sandwiches?
There
Yeah.
September does not actually mean that it involves sandwiches, all right?
What?
It's right there in the name.
Goodbye, Xeno. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for rolling with us. We'll see you next time. Bye.
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 Are you going to come and say bye, Xeno?
No.